Da zippity-yay. My, oh my, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine coming my way. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. Mr. Bluebird's on my shoulder. It's the truth. It's actual. Everything is satisfactual. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity. Here we go. Hi, Roseanne. Hi, Lisa. Courtney. Hi. Elaine, you're not number one. But you're right there in the beginning. Nice to see everyone coming in. Hey, from Virginia, Montana, Seattle, Newberry. Francine's from Newberry, Knoxville. Hi, heart to you too, Montana. Holy Cross Farm, I see you every time, Holy Cross Farm. It's great. All right, we're about ready to get started. The Fishers from Indiana, that's wonderful. Oh, from Fishers, Indiana, not the Fishers. Zippity-doo-dah, Francine. Zippity-yay. Hello from Chico. Nice town, Chico. Nice town. Noblesville, Pittsburgh, Oregon, Irvine, Oregon. Very nice. Very nice to see everyone. All righty, let's get started. I'm Joette Calabrese. We do this every Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And this is for you.
Shannon's here.
Hi, Shannon. But this is for you and for your family and for you to share. And we've been getting incredible numbers lately. What was it last week, Perry? We got 40,000 views, not live, but by the end of the week, it was 40,000. I think last week's has already gone up to 50,000. So we're averaging anywhere between 35 and 45 approximately thousand views, which is fantastic. So it means that you're doing what I would hope you'd be doing, and that is sharing this information. As you know, there's no affiliate program here. I don't advertise. I do tell you about my book. I do hope that you'll do that if you don't have my Materia Medica, that you consider getting it. But, you can use other Materia Medicas. I'm always happy to hear that folks are using those that are free online, such as Dr. James Tyler Kent. And you can get other, I have many Materia Medicas. I think at last count, it was something like 40 something Materia Medicas. So I just would buy them because I wanted to see what all the different authors had to say about the way they saw these medicines acting and how they worked it into their practices. So I love doing that. It's kind of, what I collect. I think I told you a while ago, I love to collect tartan and woolen blankets. And I don't always, but more often than not, I buy them used. I find them at church sales, or I used to. When my kids were growing up, we would go to a lot of church sales, and I loved collecting them. And now we've moved to Florida. I'm not in Florida right now, and so it's a little bit chilly here, but I don't spend the winter in cold weather any longer. So my blankets, as much as I love them, it's kind of silly to continue collecting them. So instead, I collect Materia Medicas. Not quite the same. All right, so tonight, we're going to talk about bad reaction to a drug or the wrong homeopathic medicine. And I've written on this as well, and you'll find it on my blog. You'll find the article title is called Stop It. And I want to, before I even go into how we deal with this homeopathically, I want you to know that I don't worry about provings. And you shouldn't either. But when I was a classical homeopath, I did worry about it for a number of reasons. I was under the impression that a proving could be very long lasting. And I didn't have enough experience in my own practice to really know that a proving is, generally speaking, fleeting. It comes, it goes. And the best way to treat a proving, and approving is, for those of you who may not know, is when you use a medicine that is incorrect, either in the medicine itself, the potency, or the frequency. So something about that medicine was incorrect for you, and it causes trouble. It causes kind of a stirring up. And generally speaking, it doesn't cause what the person already has. What it causes is something that's new to that person and is specific to that medicine. So let's say someone thought they should take Nux vomica. Nux vomica is a great medicine for nausea, but let's say they were taking it for a headache and they took a dose. You're not going to get approving generally with one dose, although it has happened. It's pretty darn rare, at least in my experience. Usually you have to repeat it many times. And they took the medicine and they took it again. They took Nux vomica 200, 2, 3, 4 times in a day, or even twice a day for several days. And all they had was a headache. Now, the headache did not go away because it was approving. The medicine did not act as it should. And instead, what happened was the Nux vomica caused Nux vomica type condition, such as wakefulness, irritability, maybe constipation. So if that person that was not the complaint. The original complaint was a headache. But now they've got these, they still don't have the headache release, but now they have these other symptoms. And what are those symptoms related to? You open up your Materia Medica and you read Nux vomica, and there it is. Those symptoms that are new to you, having taken Nux vomica improperly, incorrectly, are now assigned to you. Now you're experiencing them. Then you know that it was indeed Nux vomica that did it. And so what do we do? It's not permanent. I don't know, when I first started studying homeopathy, a friend of mine used a medicine, homeopathic medicine, and it caused, I don't know, I still don't know. I was too new to homeopathy at the time to know exactly what happened. And she felt as though she caused a lot of trouble in this person's life. And that was some 32 years ago, maybe 31 years ago. And in all the years that I've used homeopathy, and I've been using it now for 33 years, and at this date, and I've been in practice for full-time practice for 24 years. And when I mean by full-time, I mean really full-time. So I see a lot of clients, and now I see more than ever. I oversee many cases a day, close to 50 cases a day. And I have yet to see a proving that cannot be aborted. Now, the best way to abort approving, and this is sometimes the hardest way, but it actually is the most elegant way, is to actually find the medicine that was correct in the first place. So if that person had a headache and they used Nux vomica, and instead now they had these gut problems and sleeplessness and anxiety, what we would do is use the medicine that she should have taken the first time. So maybe instead she takes Arnica montana. And if Arnica montana is indeed the correct medicine for that headache, and she'll know instantly because the headache will be, maybe not instantly, but within short order, the headache will be brought down to a simmer and then down to probably nothing, hopefully. Then we know that it not only got rid of the headache, but it got rid of all the other conditions that Nux vomica caused from having used the Nux vomica incorrectly. So the best antidote to an incorrect homeopathic prescription is the correct medicine, the correct homeopathic medicine. Now, that is the best because now you've killed 2 birds with 1 stone. You've gotten rid of the headache as well as all of the ill effects from having taken Nux vomica, which was incorrect. But we have another medicine that we can use, and that's Camphor or Camphor. 200C. This is something that the Banerjees use regularly. They taught me to use this. And if you open up any Materia Medica and read up on Camphor, or look at what, in the back of Kent's repertory, there's a little section called, now I'm going to not remember it, Relations of Remedies. It's a grid, and it shows you which medicines will antidote others. And although I don't follow that to the letter of the law at all anymore, I found it to be not quite as practical as I had thought. There is one thing that's very valuable about it, is that you'll see Camphor is a pretty frequent antidote to most incorrectly chosen medicines. Now, that is used, when I teach my courses, such as in Good Gut, Bad Gut, Feminopathy, Skin the Ugly Truth, the mind course that I just taught, mindful homeopathy, detox, etc. I always start with, when I'm opening a case, a chronic case, I always open with camphor or camphora, 200C. And so I use camphor 200C, 1 dose 1 day. That helps clear the slate. Is it going to take care of all the ill effects? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Now that's assuming that the person's used homeopathic medicines in the past and they've not worked so well, or we're just opening the case. But let's say you've used a medicine, you've used Nux vomica, you thought it was the right medicine for a headache. Instead, now it's causing sleepless, irritability, and nausea, or constipation is the example I think I gave. Then you use camphor 200C, 1 dose 1 day, and occasionally, if it doesn't act, if you don't see it calming down a little bit, it's not going to be bam, although sometimes it can be, but more often than not, it just brings it down to a lower level. So the constipation is not so bad, and the irritability is not so severe, and the sleeplessness calms down. Then you know you're on to the correct idea here, and then you can move on the very next day. If this is a chronic condition, the next day you start up with the correct medicine. And you're going to use the last group of symptoms that were most outstanding to choose the medicine that would have been correct. Let's say it was Arnica montana, and you chose Arnica montana, and then you would have had the camphor the first day, and then the second day you start right into Arnica montana. So it's a great opportunity to uproot or stop the action, and we can also use it for the ill effects of conventional drugs. Now, it's not the only one. We've got lots of medicines that we can use to stop the action of conventional allopathic synthetic drugs. And many people ask me, well, but I'm taking this drug, let's say high blood pressure med, every day, or blood sugar, let's say metformin or something, and they're taking this every day, and they want to be sure that the conventional medicine acts. They don't want to undo it. They need it for their blood pressure, at least until they can find the correct homeopathic medicine for it. And again, let me say parenthetically, I never tell people to get off of their drugs when they're on a medication for a chronic condition. I never recommend that for 2 reasons. One is, I'm not an MD. I can't tell people to take drugs or not take drugs. That's the first reason. Number 2, I don't know enough about getting people off of drugs. That's up to the doctor or the physician's assistant or the pharmacist, which, by the way, is parenthetic inside of parenthetic. Pharmacists are very, very knowledgeable about drugs. So you want to get to know your pharmacist. So what I tell people, those are the 2 and then the third reason is for legal reasons. I don't want legal trouble with all of that. And actually the 4th reason is, if someone just hops off of their medication, it can cause a cacophony of problems, and we certainly don't want that. So instead, what I urge people to do is to use the homeopathic right alongside the conventional medication. And by taking camphora or camphor, it will not antidote the action of the conventional medicine in its actual valuable effects. So if the blood pressure is being dropped down by blood pressure med and you use camphora, it's not going to antidote it and your blood pressure is going to go shooting up again. No, that's not what we want, and that's not what would happen. So don't worry about that. And once you take the camphora, it stops the action at that moment. So it's not going to affect those medicines, the conventional medicines that are presently being taken. It's only going to stop the ill effects of an old medication, such as, for example, someone's had surgery, and it was 3 weeks ago, and ever since then they've felt spacey from the general anesthesia. Great idea. We use camphora 200, 1 dose 1 day, and then we can also take a homeopathic medicine for that spaciness, but we start with camphora. It helps antidote that bad action, or reaction, I should say. So that's a great one to hold in your hip pocket. And I teach a lot about it. Check out my blog. I'll probably explain it a little bit further. and slightly differently in those areas. Then another medicine, or not medicine, another technique that I like for antidoting, a homeopathic now, and this is not for conventional, but homeopathic, is to sniff essential oil of mint. And you simply open it up, put it to the nostril, take a good inhalation, then take it to the next nostril, and put it to, and take another good deep sniff. And then to make sure that you're getting it, I often put it on a little cotton ball and put the cotton ball up in my sleeve, and then I take it out every once in a while, or I urge folks to do that, and take a sniff of the essential oil of mint. Once the homeopathic ill action of the homeopathic starts to drop down, now you can stop taking it, and then if this is for a chronic condition you're dealing with, then the next day you go ahead and start up on the medicine that you have decided is going to be correct. All right. So the medicine is, as you can guess, Camphor officinalis, or officinarium, sometimes just called camphor. And it can also be used, believe it or not, for collapse. So if you happen to have my Materia Medica, here are my notes here, you will see that it can be used for coldness and collapse, as when someone the body is, it's a reaction to sometimes a drug, if there's coldness that comes with cold pain, where the pain feels cold, and there's a feeling of weakness in the body. This is a great medicine. But I find I don't really use Camphor officinarum very frequently as a homeopathic medicine in and of itself. It's very rare that I've used this. I did use it many years ago for someone who was always chilly, always cold. And there were a couple of other medicines that were used. Serenum was one, and I can't remember the others right now. But eventually we got to Camphor. I think it was about the third medicine down. We started to use Camphor, and it did help this person with this internal coldness that just couldn't seem to warm up regardless of how they were bundled up. So the real action of this medicine, in my estimation, or its most valuable action, is in its ability to antidote a proving or a bad choice of a homeopathic medicine, and for ill effects of conventional allopathic medicine. All right, let's just see here what people have got. Oh, yes, love it. Camphor 200, alternating with antimonium crude every 3 hours for drug-induced dermatitis. You bet. I've used that many times. Doesn't the camphor antidote the antimonium crude? No, what it does is it antidotes the drug that causing the problem. And then you use the Camphor first. It antidotes the drug to a certain degree. Then you use the medicine that is specific for the condition, which is antimonium crude. Then if the rash is still occurring, you give Camphor again, and it's going to antidote. It's not going to undo everything that's been used. It's just going to stop the action at that moment. Then you give it the antimonium crude again. It's an incredible technique, and I've used that many times. It's excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Yes. Okay. What if you're taking multiple protocols and you take an allopathic drug that causes a bad reaction? If you antidote with camphor, will that antidote all the other protocols you've been taking? Yes, it will stop the action. But I think what people are assuming is that what it means is it's going to wipe it all out, all the good you've gotten. The eczema is so much better, but now I take this camphor and it's going to wipe all the goodness away. No, all Camphor does is it stops the action at this moment in time upon taking it. That's all it does. It stops it. Now, anything that you take after that will start it up again. So it's an action that's going on in the body while you're taking these homeopathic medicines. It's moving along. And if you have a bad reaction to a drug, you go to the dentist and you have a bad reaction. Meanwhile, you're taking something for eczema, you're going to stop that action. Okay, stop. You've stopped the movement of the medicine that's specific for the eczema, but no worries. The next day, you're going to start it up again, and you're going to take right up where you left off. All right, let's see if we've got another question. What if a person misreads a protocol that said every 3 hours and took it 2 to 3 times a day and continued to have their symptoms of the remedy, but some new ones too? Can you give the Camphor more than once? No, it doesn't matter how it's presenting. What I'm saying is it's one dose, one day. Sometimes we need to take it a second time. The next day is normally the way I use it. I don't generally use it more than once in a day. I don't know that I've ever done that. Will camphor or menthol in other presentations antidote our homeopathic treatment? You mean such as taking a sniff of it in essential oils or through a vaporizer? Yes, indeed it will. Camphor will do it in gross form as well as it will do it in the 200 potency. I'm not saying it will, it can. It can. It depends on how much you get of it, how strong it is, how susceptible you are. But yes, it certainly could do that. So in soaps, etc., you want to be careful with those antidoting essential oil substances. And the antidoting substances of essential oils is in the category of aromatics. So it's a subcategory of essential oils. If you know your essential oils, you know your aromatics. Those are the ones you have to stay away from if in strong form, if you don't want your medicines, your homeopathic medicines, to be antidoted. Okay. Okay, my husband just had appendix taken out. He had antibiotics through IV. Should he take Camphor 200 one dose to stop any effects? I can't tell you what your husband should do, but I'll tell you that the method that we use is that we assume that after someone has had surgery that they've had a lot of drugs. And certainly when I had surgery years ago, it's exactly what I did. So that's not a bad method to consider. Okay, can Nux vomica be used in the same way for something like ill effects of anesthesia? Yes, if the ill effects of anesthesia are showing up like Nux vomica. So if the anesthesia is causing nausea, terrible constipation, stomach pain, vomiting, then it would be an incredibly good choice to go with Nux vomica. If instead, after anesthesia, the person is spacey and has headaches, then I might instead go with something like phosphorus. If instead there's no ill effect that is noted, then I would indeed go with camphora. Okay, let's see. I recently read of someone who was losing hearing due to antibiotics and a case where childhood antibiotics was causing kidney disease. Shocking. Would this antidote stop the disease caused by the antibiotic? That's not the way I see this. We're not looking necessarily to stop the disease. What we're looking for is to stop the action of the medicine. Then we treat the disease with the homeopathic medicines specific to that. So then we would probably need a kidney disease medicine, homeopathic medicine, and what was the other? And a hearing loss homeopathic medicine. So we open with camphor and then we continue with the homeopathics. Okay, how long do you recommend continuing the camphor alternating with antimonium crude protocol? Let's see if anyone can answer that for me. For how long? When someone is having a reaction to a drug that's causing a skin condition, for how long do we use that? I'm going to skip over some. I wondered also about toothpaste. Well, if you're using toothpaste and your homeopathic medicines are working, then I wouldn't wonder anymore. Don't worry about it. All right. Hi, Kay. Nice to see you here. Okay, several other remedies failed to stop this increasing reactions, and then suddenly occurred to me, coffee equals caffeine equals drug, camphora, squash. Okay. How about Vicks? I always get concerned getting close to him when he smells like it. I'll tell you, I wouldn't worry about someone else who's wearing Vicks with camphor in it. I'd worry more about using Vicks yourself. That's when I would be most concerned. Okay, Francine, Evelyn, Nancy, got it right. Until very much better. For how long do you use a homeopathic medicine? Until very much better. Until improved, says Evelyn. You bet. Francine says till very much better. Kelly says until VMB. Until you see improvement. Absolutely. And you want to see good improvement. You don't want to see a little improvement. You want to see it pretty much resolved. Until it clears up, says Pat. Absolutely. You've got it, folks. Until there are no symptoms, says Tan. Until it's very much better, says Michelle. Good job, folks. So we use these medicines until we see no need to use these medicines. That's the way, Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Yes, until very much better. Until Stephanie says, yep, Elaine says, until you see a good improvement. And you want to see even more than just a little improvement. You want to see pretty much the whole thing is cleared up. Since most Western meds have bad side effects, do you routinely use camphor to open a case? You bet. It's exactly what I said a little earlier. You missed that part. All righty. I think we've got a wrap. All right, folks, please share this with your friends. We're on YouTube now. We need to get homeopathy out to the world. This is very important stuff. And I have no hidden agenda here. I'm teaching you because I love it. I love doing this. I love to see my clients and friends and even Facebook friends that I've never met. Please share this. We need this in our world today. And the more people in your sphere, your life, your mother-in-law, your sister-in-law, your cousin, your church mate, your neighbor, the more people who are onto homeopathy, the easier it's going to be for you to talk about it and for you to share information with them and for you to own the remedies. If you've got a next door neighbor who's buying remedies as well as you, now if you run out of something, you can knock on the door. Instead of asking for half a cup of sugar, you can ask for a whole bottle of sugar pills. Homeopathic medicines on top of sucrose or lactose. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful evening and God bless you all. It's been wonderful. See you next Monday. Bye, folks. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay.